From the outside, it looks like arrogance beating decency, ego crushing kindness, loud confidence overpowering quiet competence, and people tell themselves comforting stories about karma, fairness, and long-term justice to avoid facing the deeper pattern. But if you strip away moral language and observe humans the way a biologist observes animals, a clearer truth appears. Egoistic people win because they stabilize reality around themselves, while most people remain internally unstable, and instability is expensive in social systems. Humans are not rewarded for goodness, they are rewarded for reducing uncertainty. Every interaction is an unconscious negotiation of risk. Who will hesitate? Who will decide? Who will bend? Who will hold? Egoistic people signal early and repeatedly that they will not collapse under pressure. That signal alone saves others cognitive effort. When someone appears internally resolved, the nervous systems around them relax. Relaxed nervous systems follow. This is why egoistic people often become leaders without being elected. Leadership is first a felt experience, not a title. People don't follow the smartest person in the room. They follow the person whose internal world seems least chaotic. Ego, in its effective form, is nothing more than internal order projected outward. Most people mistake ego for loudness because they only see the cheap version, the brittle ego that overcompensates, interrupts, flexes, and demands applause. But the ego that actually wins is quiet, heavy, and immovable. It does not argue for its right to exist. It assumes it, and assumption is powerful because it bypasses debate. Debate invites negotiation. Egoistic people rarely invite negotiation about who they are. They may negotiate terms, money, timelines, but not identity. Identity is fixed. That fixity changes everything downstream. When your identity is stable, decisions become faster. When decisions become faster, opportunities compound. When opportunities compound, mistakes are forgiven because momentum reframes them as learning rather than failure. This is why egoistic people appear to fail upward. It's not luck, it's narrative control created by consistency. Humans don't judge isolated actions, they judge trajectories. Egoistic people protect trajectory at all costs. They will sacrifice comfort, popularity, and even short-term relationships to preserve direction. Nice people do the opposite. They sacrifice direction to preserve harmony. Harmony feels good today, but costs authority tomorrow. Authority once lost is almost impossible to regain without conflict, and conflict is what nice people fear most. Egoistic people are not fearless, they are conflict literate. They understand that conflict is not a moral event, it's a sorting mechanism. It reveals who respects boundaries and who feeds on their absence. By tolerating conflict early, egoistic people filter their environments. Over time, they are surrounded by fewer people, but higher quality ones, people who know the rules, respect the lines, and don't constantly test limits. That environment accelerates growth quietly. Meanwhile, boundaryless people are
surrounded by noise, endless requests, emotional drains, social obligations, and unspoken resentments. Their energy leaks in 1,000 invisible ways. Ego seals leaks. That's another reason egoistic people seem more focused, more productive, more driven. They're not necessarily more motivated. They're less interrupted. There's also an evolutionary layer people don't like to admit. Humans evolved to follow those who appeared most certain during uncertainty. In dangerous environments, hesitation killed. Certainty, even imperfect, saved time. That bias never disappeared. Modern life just disguises it behind offices, social media, and polite language. Egoistic people exploit that ancient bias without needing to understand it intellectually. They feel it intuitively. They speak as if time matters. They act as if indecision is a cost. And the world agrees, because at scale, indecision is a cost. Another layer. Egoistic people internalize responsibility differently. Where most people emotionally protect themselves by blaming circumstances, egoistic people absorb blame even when it's unfair. Not because they enjoy guilt, but because ownership creates control. If it's my fault, then it's my move. Control is addictive. Once someone experiences control, they cannot go back to psychological helplessness. Egoistic people would rather be wrong and powerful than right and passive. This orientation makes them dangerous in competitive environments because they keep acting while others are still explaining. Action creates feedback. Feedback sharpens intuition. Intuition speeds future action. This loop compounds brutally. Over years, the gap becomes invisible but enormous. And here's a subtle truth. Almost nobody notices. Egoistic people rehearse certainty internally, long before they express it externally. They decide in private. By the time they speak, the decision has settled. That's why their words feel heavy. Most people think out loud. Egoistic people think in silence and speak in conclusions. Conclusions command attention. There is also a spiritual misconception that humility requires self-erasure. That idea quietly destroys potential. True humility is accuracy, knowing your strengths without exaggeration and your weaknesses without shame. Egoistic people practice accuracy about themselves. They don't pretend to be less to make others comfortable. They also don't pretend to be more when competence isn't there. That's the fragile ego's mistake. The sovereign ego waits until it can back its posture with discipline. That patience is invisible but lethal. When it finally asserts itself, resistance feels pointless because the foundation is already built. This is why egoistic people often seem to come out of nowhere. They didn't. They were just building without asking for permission. And finally, the layer that stings the most. The world mirrors how you treat yourself. If you constantly negotiate your own worth, others will negotiate it for you. Aggressively. If you hesitate to claim space, others will occupy it. If you apologize for existing loudly, the world will quiet you permanently. Egoistic people refuse to perform that self-betrayal. They would rather be judged than diminished. Judgment fades. Diminishment compounds. Over time, egoistic people stand taller, not because they crushed others, but because they never shrank themselves to fit rooms that were too small. That is the real reason they win. Not magic, not privilege, not cruelty, but an early decision to become internally solid in a world that constantly rewards those who do. If there is one lesson beneath all of this, it is this. Power does not come from dominating others. It comes from refusing to abandon yourself under pressure. Ego is simply the psychological structure that makes that refusal possible. And once you understand that, you stop envying egoistic people and start realizing they were never playing a different game. They just learned the rules before you did.